Hey guys, Ryan here. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the top 5 best meta weapons for the average player. We're pretty much just going to jump straight into it, and the very first gun we're going to talk about is going to be the RPK. So right now in the background, you can see the attachments and tuning I use for this gun. So if you're looking for any of that, you can just copy and paste it from here. But the RPK is directly competing with the TAC-56 for the best AR or LMG in this game. And in my eyes, I just think the RPK is a little easier to use, and that's why I'm going to recommend it first for the average player. If you can use the TAC-56, I do think it's a little bit better than the RPK in the mid-range, the close range, but I think the RPK is a little better at range and a little easier to use, and that's the main benefit of it. That's why I really recommend it for average players, and that's why I think it's such a good gun. And at number 2, we're going to have the Fennec, which is the gun I probably think you should pair it with. Now, I do think the Fennec, I really struggled with this one, but I think it's just so good that even if the recoil is a little tough, even if the magazine's a little small, I do think it's the best choice for average players. All of the top players in the game right now are essentially running the TAC-56 with the Fennec, and I do think this is a good class for the average player, but I do think there are slightly better options. Right now, I'm going to give you my sniper class, and then after I'm going to talk about the SMG I use with my sniper. So the sniper I use is the MCPR. Now, I'm not saying this is actually the best sniper in the game, because what I found is you can use essentially any sniper in the game with great success. However, this is the one I prefer, especially with this build. If you try this build out, guys, I promise you're probably going to enjoy it. Okay, that doesn't make sense. I said you're probably going to enjoy it and I blah, blah, blah. But what I mean is of all the sniper builds I've tried and all of the snipers I've used, this has by far been the best, and a key reason is in my rechambering attachment. This allows me to get a second follow-up shot down way sooner, because if you have 3 plates in that purple little vest, you cannot be one shot in the head. So with the smooth bolt, this means you can get a follow-up shot down a lot sooner, and if you're accurate and a good player, you can instantly take someone out, and it feels absolutely amazing. But the SMG I pair my sniper with is this Vaznev 9K. Now the thing with the Vaznev 9K is I use it with the canted iron sights, and this is actually my preferred SMG. The build right now is going up in the background. I'm not even going to put it, but this is my 4th weapon on this list of 5, and I love this thing, guys. I much prefer the Vaznev 9K with my ARs, with everything compared to even the Fennec. I know I said the Fennec is probably the best SMG, and I even recommended it for average players, but in my eyes, this gun's a little better. It has lower recoil, it seems to have about the same damage, if not better, and the only real issue with it, in my eyes, is the slow rate of fire. So this means that if you miss 1 or 2 shots, you're going to be more heavily punished for it, and the Fennec has such a high rate of fire, you can hit multiple people. But on the flip side, this gun allows you to kill more people with 1 clip if you're more accurate, because it takes so many less bullets to kill. So do actually try this Vaznev 9K, and really do try it with the canted laser sight, guys. If you don't like the canted laser sight, change that attachment for something else, but the canted laser sight is so good in my opinion, and it makes it just an absolute monster. The last gun we're going to talk about before I get into the honorable mentions is going to be the TAC-56. Now the TAC-56 is easily the most seen assault rifle used amongst the top players in the game right now. If you watch any Warzone tournament, if you watch any real top players play, they're probably using the TAC-56. I love this thing, I think it's absolutely amazing, and I'd recommend it for anyone who can actually control the recoil. I have a great time with this, but I also had a 3.5 KD in Warzone, blah 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 blah. The one thing I have noticed though, is I think for the average players, there's better options. Guns like the M4, the RPK, the RAL MG all have less recoil, albeit maybe not as much damage, and maybe not as much use in the close and mid-range. The TAC-56 has absurd damage, but it also comes with pretty hefty recoil, and so this is where I'm a little iffy on recommending it. I'm still going to recommend it on this list because I think it's so good and so meta. There's an obvious reason why all the top players are using it, and I think plenty of casual and average players could learn to use it. However, on the flip side, you have to be aware that this gun might be a little too difficult for someone to use, and that's why I'm going to recommend it 5th. I still think it's a super good option, I still think it's meta, but there could be better options. This is also going to lead into me talking about my honorable mentions now. For me, The very first honorable mention is going to go to the M4, which you just saw me use in the background. The M4 as a super long range AR really is not that viable. It just has too much recoil. But as a close and mid-range hybrid AR SMG type thing, it's absolutely amazing, and I'd really recommend for people to give it a try. It has good mobility, good damage, and it's an overall pretty low recoil amount for the amount of damage it puts out. The second gun I'm going to really recommend is going to be the RAL MG. So the RAL, guys, it's super slow. Let me get that across. It has a slow ADS, slow sprint to fire, slow movement speed. However, on the flip side, it has some of the easiest recoil to control in the entire game, and anyone can control the recoil. In all of the Warzone 2 time I've played, I have yet to experience a gun with as little recoil as the RAL MG. However, as I said, it's easily the slowest, most sluggish gun I've also used. So in that way, I do feel it's balanced, and that's why I'm putting it as an honorable mention. The third gun I'm going to recommend for people to try, and this one kind of is a little bit of a surprise, but maybe not, it's going to be the Kastov 7.62. This thing is kind of creeping up in the meta. People are saying this thing's probably going to be meta. It might even actually be better than the TAC 56. But for right now, I do think it's just a little too much recoil. I do think it's a little difficult for people to use that are kind of on a more average skill level, and that's something to keep in mind. Do keep your eyes out on it. If you do really like the gun and you can control the recoil with ease, then I'd probably put it on a class and give it a go. Anyways, guys, I'm going to start wrapping this video up. I just want to say thank you for all the support recently. Thank you for all the support on the videos and everything like that. And I hope you guys are really enjoying Warzone 2. It's been Ryan. I hope you have a good day. Peace.